Well, we're not going to go to them just yet. Let's talk about it here. Let's start with the men's side, okay? Drew Valentine, right? Fourth year of the program. I really like, his. I mean, he has such a great demeanor, right? You talk about like identifying with the players and connecting with them. Like, what an incredible job, and a huge jump too from last year, from the previous year too, Coach.
Sure, you go 10 wins to 23 wins in this league, and there were times when he would mention to me, I felt like the water was over the top of us all the time. Last year was just more confident, and he's got an old soul. He's got an old soul for this league.
Yeah, I think we're seeing more and more how important it is to have players, coaches, right? That just really gel, get along. They can identify, they represent the product on the floor. I'm really interested to see what Des Watson looks like this season. I just think as an all-conference first-team player, he led the Ramblers in scoring, all second-team A-10 last season. You talk about the production that he could do inside the three, but also outside of the three. I'm excited to see where he can grow his game under Coach Valentine.
His improvement is, and they're going to need the improvement because they have to get these transfers to blend in. They have a nice thing going, but now how do these transfers blend in? And the bottom line is, can they score enough because they love defense?
Loyola Chicago finished tied for first last year, 15-3 with the Richmond Spiders. Again, trying to build off that, like you said. Watson, who started and played in all 33 games to them last year, returning leading scorer. And it's about what he can bring to, like you said, Coach, those new people coming in. Like, you need your leaders to be your best, right? Locker room guys there too, and then like being able to bring this team together. That's what it's all about.
Really, we are forcing what used to be a 2 and a 3 year situation into 10 months.
Yeah.
And you want to be in a situation because of the people that you're playing against, not just in this league, but the people that you're going to play in non-conference. You almost have to be kicking in and ready to go November the 9th.
Watson's a preseason first-team all-conference selection for the A-10 this year. Also got Miles Rubin, all-conference third team, and on the preseason all-defensive team as well for Loyola Chicago on the men's basketball side. So we'll see what the Ramblers can do this upcoming year. How about for the women? 15-16 a year ago. Allison Guth now coming up on her third season, Ice.
Yeah, what they did last year is this team was picked to finish last in the preseason poll. And we know, hey, polls this time of year, you don't know what newcomers are going to make the immediate impact. You don't know what returners got better and jumped a level. But they finished in the 8th seed in the A-10 tournament. And so I felt like they exceeded some of their expectations. They lost to Richmond in the tournament, but I thought they played them extremely tough at that point in the season, and I feel like they lost 2 of their leading scorers, and that's the big question that we have to answer for them, Mike, is who are they going to use to fill the gap after losing so much production? Yeah,
lost the top 2 scorers, both in double figures in scoring. So again, every year, right? I mean, the attrition, it's crazy, but you see that here, right? Taking the next step. The post-production, and then some intriguing freshmen, right? You had some thoughts on that and some, the transfers coming in. What do you got?
Yeah, I thought that Coach Guth did a really good job picking up transfers from Monmouth, Bucknell, Washington, and then one from Duquesne. The one that I'd like to highlight is Nay Bernard, a point guard from Paris that did a terrific job as a junior with the Dukes, playing fast, knocking down the 3. In fact, she was 5th in the A-10 in 75 triples. And so you talk about Allison Guth in her third year, wanting to add more experience to her team, wanting to make sure that they can score and be versatile. I think Nay Bernard is a really nice pickup for them in the offseason.
Another incredible venue there in Chicago, Illinois, right? Coach, you and I were talking along with Ice earlier before we came on about some of the awesome cities, arenas, gyms. Talk to us about the Loyola Chicago.
The beauty of the Atlantic 10 to me is you can go into a gym, and then the next night you're playing in an arena, and ultimately you're all trying to get to Brooklyn. But the gyms in this league, I like the places where the security guard knows everything about both teams, and he knows everything about your family. It's a special venue, and amidst a league that has a lot of them.
And Sister Jean, of course, right? You've got Sister Jean there leading the way for the Ramboys. Incredible lady, and just really, really an enjoyable atmosphere and experience. Now, you go back, you said 2 years ago, they had 10 wins. It didn't matter. That place is packed. I mean, I'm there doing games on press row. We got students and people literally like right behind us screaming in our ear the entire game. So it's just another great place to go check out a college basketball game. And they have it on both sides, too, you know, and it's enjoyable to see.
Yeah, absolutely. The women's program is certainly getting more notoriety, getting more seats filled. I actually really like that because they are in Chicago, it's easy to get really good non-conference games. They're playing Northwestern in the preseason and also DePaul. So on the women's side, that is terrific competition that you can get. DePaul, a team in the Big East that always puts out consistent production under Doug Bruno, and then Northwestern as well. Two teams that really can get you ready for the Atlantic 10 and see some different versatility, especially defensively.
No, there's something that I wonder about. This now allowing transfers within the league. How does that play? How does that play, whether it's in the greater good of the league? I don't know. I don't have an answer. I'm not critical of it. But when Ice mentioned Duquesne to Loyola, how does that young lady approach the Duquesne games going back to Pittsburgh?
It's spicy, Coach. That's what the young kids say. We call it spicy. It's spicy. Well, I don't
Hit me
mind
with
it.
young, Ice.
Yeah.
Hit me with young. Come on. I'm counting on you to keep me young.
I got you. Look, I don't mind it. I think one, if you're an athlete, you're familiar with the conference, you know where you're traveling to.
Point.
Maybe you wanted to stay near home and have family be able to travel, and so there's nothing that changes there. She obviously could go to a different program. Maybe you're changing because of studies and what exists. But in terms of basketball, like for that one game against Duquesne, my job would be like to go out there and kill, right? I get to play against my old team. I know all the calls, all the recipes. These coaches don't change what they do, right? They just change the players that are in the systems. And so I think you kind of approach it like a homecoming, but then you also take it very personal to beat a team in which you left. And that's kind of the competitive spirit that we love to have.
So many reasons, and you know, for moving different places, right? I understand. Now, if we take the money out of it, right? I mean, you know, Coach, you think like, all right, hey, I'm not playing, I can play more here. But sometimes not playing, then you work a little bit harder, right? You were just telling us a story about one of the great teams you had back in the day, you know, with the guys that had to sit behind other players, you know? It's like, what's that like? I mean, what kind of message are we sending if like, well, this doesn't seem to be good for me, I'm out of here? Like, that's not kind of how you can operate in life, is it?
No, it's not, and it is a concern. It is a concern. I'm all for the portal. I get it. I understand it. I don't like that we're not building programs as much as we're building teams each year. But this experience, playing college basketball for you, Ice, was life-changing.
Yeah.
And it should be life-changing for everybody that gets that opportunity. But what about dealing with that adversity? Right? I'm sure people have reasons for transferring, but if it's running from, I would prefer that we talk to people that are running to something. Don't run from a challenge. That's across the board.
I'll give my personal, story. Like I went to 4 different schools for college, right? One of them was I was transferring, hurt my knee. School didn't have scholarships the next year, so I had to find somewhere else to go. But I think too, in being young, I picked my first school for different reasons, right? I picked it because I wanted to win a conference championship. I wanted to be in Florida where there was nice weather and far away from my parents in New Jersey, right? And then I realized 2 years later, I want something different. Now I want to go to Syracuse, where I know that I can get a master's degree that will set me up for life. Now I want to go to Syracuse because of the basketball, and I'm more of an ACC guard than I am an SEC guard, right? And so I think sometimes just young people and who you're using to make these decisions with, you're choosing things for the wrong reasons. And we know that coaches these days move as much as players do, and so it's hard to find that right fit the first time, right? The first guy that I dated, I didn't marry, Coach. I had to go and find some other flavors. And I'm still looking, Mike, actually.
Yeah, hey, listen, it's really good to hear it from your perspective.
Is that like, what did they do on the phone where they, come on, Ice, your phone's going to be blowing up now after that announcement. Hold on now.
All right, perfect timing to get to our next press conference here from Loyola, Chicago.
Coming off of the year that we had last year, and considering the way that, our team was able to come together by the time that conference play came around, definitely, proud of how that season played out, but last season is over with, and now we're on to this year, and we're on this journey or race, this year, this offseason, we've talked a lot about how mature can this group get. Talked a lot about this race to maturity concept. You know, for this group, our leaders, how consistent can they be as leaders? Our freshmen, how much can they grow physically, mentally, to help us out there on the floor? How quick can our transfers pick up this new style of play and system and execute, you know, the way that we need to execute to be a good team from the jump? And so that's what we're on right now is this race to maturity. But I love our group, as every coach does in the offseason. But, you know, the 5 guys that decided to come back, you know, I'm really, really excited about their growth. Des obviously here, Jalen Quinn, Jaden Dawson, Sheldon Edwards, Miles Rubin. Those guys, how they've grown, how they've attacked this offseason. And not being content with having success last year, but wanting to do it even bigger this year. So I love this group that we have coming back. And I think we've sprinkled in some talented transfers and newcomers. And how fast we mature as a group will determine how good we are. But I love the mentality and approach that we have, and they're fun to coach every day.
Thank you, Coach. We will now open for questions from the press.
Drew, you talk about maturity, and I think about the way that you guys played defense last year, and that's probably a pretty good indication of maturity. Do you think this is a team that can hang its hat at that end as much as last year's did, and how much carryover do you think there can be from that?
Yeah, that's our program's identity, and I make it very clear in the recruiting process. And when you get here, that being a two-way guy is what I value, and that side of the floor is what we're always going to hang our hat on, what we've always hung our hat on. Me being kind of the defensive coordinator before I took over, you know, that's what we do here. And so we've got, like, the guys that we had that played last year are like very, very good defenders. And then we, you know, doubled down on that in the portal with the you know, Jalen Deloach, was already all defensive team in the Atlantic 10, and Francis Wakoria and Kamani Winsu, Justin Moore, like those guys they all can do different things defensively. And then just the overall length that our freshman class has and athleticism, like I think we got a shot to be one of the best defensive teams that we've ever had here. A shot. Now we've got to be more consistent and foul probably a little less, but as far as rim protection, as far as size, physicality, intensity, competitiveness, dog, you know, mentality, like I think, you know, last year we finished #1 defense in the A-10 and 28th in the country, and this group should be better.
Aaron Bracey from Big5Hoops.com in Philly. This is for Coach and Des. You mentioned your transfers. You got Kamani, you were very active in the portal with Kamani, Francis, Jalen, Justin. I'm specifically interested in what Justin has brought to your program, and also just generally about the transfers. And Des, as a leader, also just wanted to hear from you about how do you incorporate all these new guys into the program, and kind of like what are your expectations? So kind of for both of you there.
I personally think it's easy when you come here, because like I've said in every other interview, it's a standard. When you come here, you have to. It's either you in or you out. It's not flaky. It's not anybody gets treated differently. It's everybody's the same. So it's either you in or out, and I think everybody loves it. You know, Drew he's very relatable. He's easy. He's an easy coach. All the guys are cool. Everybody wants the same goal. Everybody wants to be a pro. Everybody wants to win, and everybody wants to see everybody eat. So I think it's easy.
I think Justin specifically, he brings us speed, first of all, in the open court. I mean, he's had, you know, times this year where he's got it outletted and, you know, taking the length of the court in 2 or 3 seconds. So he gives us speed. I think he gives us somebody that can create a mid-range shot late in the clock, where you know, whether it's against a switch or, you know, in a pick and roll, where, you know, he can create offense and generate offense for himself or for others. And, you know, we're doing some 5-out stuff this year where we're playing like a 5-guard lineup, and I want him to touch the paint and score to himself, get fouled, or create for somebody else. So he brings us speed and shot creation from the lead guard spot. And incorporating transfers is a lot of obviously stuff on the court, but off the court stuff too. And so we've done stuff as a coaching staff to help our guys, get to know each other more. But our leadership has to, and has done a good job of off the court, making sure everybody's together and feels included, loved, valued. And so I'm just, we've had a lot of success with transfers. Last year we had 3 guys on the all A-10 teams that were all transfers. The only team in the country to have 3 all-league transfers, and it's crazy. They're all from Columbus, Ohio, too, which is insane with Phil, Braden, and Des. But we're picky in who we bring into the family, and we're very direct in the recruiting process about what we're looking for, what the expectations are. And so, like Des said, it makes it easy to coach when you're here because there's no gray area. Right, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into when you come here, and so if you sign up for that, you want the smoke, you want the challenge, and you know it's going to be demanding. But at the end of that brick road, if you can continue to grow and develop, you're going to win a championship, and you're going to be a pro. So that's what we're all about here, and we're excited to continue that and keep going.
One last question here.
Michael Bergman, A10 Talk. Coach, you guys coming off, finishing atop the league standings and being one of the more predominant team in mid-major basketball, when you go into scheduling in the non-conference, does having a lot of success kind of hurt your ability to get better teams to play you guys? And how do you balance scheduling either tougher opponents early in the season and balancing kind of getting chemistry and getting your legs going into the season?
Yeah, great question. I think scheduling is super important for our league in general, and I think our league did a very, very good job at providing opportunities, whether that's through home and home series, neutral sites, MTEs, whatever it can be, to help enhance our league. And I'm really looking forward to those first 2 months of the season. As far as our own scheduling philosophy, we want to have a mix. We want to have a mix of those quad 1 and 2 opportunities, whether they're home or away or neutral, where we can challenge ourselves. But we also want to, there's another way, the Iowa State way of doing it, right, where you can play those quad 4s and, give people opportunities to play and grow, hopefully, through winning. And, the better you do in those from a metric standpoint, the combination of those 2 things is always going to be important for us. And I think you see with our schedule, we try to, go after conference champions or top teams. We got a WCC opponent in San Francisco who's, if you look at metrics, is within the top 50 to 70 of the country. Princeton's projected to win the Ivy League, and South Florida was the American Conference champions last year, and they're projected to be well. So, that's what we tried to do this year was mix those quad 4s in, mix with the quad 1 and 2 opportunities. So that's kind of half and half is kind of how I look at it for us.
That takes some time. Des Watson knows what that's like. He's been with Loyola Chicago for a little while now. He joins us now. Des, thanks so much for being with us. Great point from Coach there. What's it like for you in that environment at Loyola Chicago, the fan base, the people, what it means to you, and what you've done so far up to this point in your career?
It means everything to me. I love it. Gentile Arena is so live and fun. Everybody that goes to Loyola is so loving and supporting. It's so lit and live, and it just brings the best out of everybody. I think that was probably the best decision that I could ever make was come to Loyola.
I think, Des, to be identified as a leader by your coach, that's a great thing, but how? What did you do since May 1st to make sure that this is going to be the best version of Loyola by incorporating the newcomers?
I would say, with me is I want to earn everybody's trust. So I'm in there grinding just like them. I don't want them to think I'm any different, any higher or anything. I'm just like them. So in there every day grinding, blood, sweat, and tears. I go through war with those guys. I know on the court it's going to get hard. It's going to get grimy. So if I can go through those things with, behind closed doors, when I'm in front of everybody, it's easy.
Des, what have you worked on this offseason to improve with your game for this season?
I would say I've worked on everything. I've worked on a lot more in the rehab, mobility, just being able to move better, and little ways that, other people might not notice, but I would notice. In the gym, more shots, dribbling, everything to better my game, to take it to the next level and just be the best me.
All right, Des, we're going into speed forward. We're going speed forward. It's March 15th. What does a great year look like at Loyola Chicago?
Can you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
Sure. We're going to speed forward to March 15th. What does a great year look like for Loyola Chicago?
That's easy. Winning is the first thing, winning is the second thing, and winning is the third thing.
Straight like that. Straight like that.
That is perfect. Des,
Straight
thanks.
like that.
Thank you so much. Wishing you all the best and look forward to seeing you this season.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.
You got it. Des Watson from the Loyola Chicago Ramblers. The team, as we said, was tied for first place last year at 15-3. Got a couple of Friday nights at Loyola Chicago on ESPN for the Friday night showcase. Looking forward to that here in the Atlantic 10 on ESPN.